And this next one, boys and gals, oh, it's an interesting one that we have, at least in our time here, not seen, that being a potential esports team trying to sell their spot in a franchise league because their main team in sports is failing to compete. We are talking about the Schalke, a very well-known name in the LEC, as most LEC teams are. Certainly, have had their moments here and there, but the more important part is they are one of very few league teams in recent times looking to sell their spot in the LEC, reported by a French outlet known as L'Equipe. I probably mispronounced that. Please don't. La Huib, for supposedly around $20 million. Their initial investment, I believe, shy of $10 million. So a great return on that. But this is very interesting because they are potentially selling that spot to make up for debt or ground loss in their main sports team. The Schalke is a football club as well in the Bundesliga, where they are in dead last place.
Oh, nailed it.
And do you get relegated in the Bundesliga? I imagine there's some sort of process there.
The Bundesliga, yeah, basically you can get booted out of it, and I think the relegation process is actually a little tougher than it is in, say, in Premier League. You can literally get back the next year. I think, from what I understand, Bundesliga is a little tougher. Once you get demoted, it's hard to scrap your way back in. Just the competition is so fierce because it's right after Premier League, probably, actually easily the second biggest league in Europe, if not the world, when it comes to just professional soccer.
Yeah, I won't get into too much football talk because I'll sound like an idiot, but this is a very rare case because to see a main sports branch who has also entered esports, maybe back out of esports because their sports branch is not doing too well. We just talked about ESPN esports. Yeah. That's an interesting side point.
It would be like if the Golden State Warriors had a bad season and they had to sell the Golden Warriors league team.
Thank you, because I was struggling to think of another comparison. But it brings to light another great thing out there as to who could replace them. The lead rumor right now is another team out there known as BDS. Not too prominent outside of League of Legends, Rocket League, and I believe Siege, but definitely not a top name out there. They're the lead runner for a rumor. And why we're making this video is because this is the time to strike Jimmy, our boy, Mr. Beastie.
Mr. Beast 3000.
If you guys have missed our rants on this, talk to him very, very briefly about his plans. Initially it was 2022, and then it was 2023 because he's had so many projects going on. In case you guys somehow have missed it, Mr. Beast really wants a League of Legends roster, one of which has not opened up. We thought LCS would be great, no knock on him. But a team like CLG or someone who is just financially not really in the race, where
they're struggling for it and needs that cash.
Yeah, where the standards have been the cash you really need to succeed. And yes, they could bite back this year. Please, I don't want to jump the gun, but we think about a team, a typically consistent low tier team who cannot afford to really compete with other teams. That's who Mr. Beast might be eyeing. And then all of a sudden, Schalke's like, hey, we'll be selling for 20 million.
20, and then Mr. Beast, he did what I think could be the classic smokescreen of like a day before it's announced. He's like, oh, I might have to wait on a team. But that's,
let me clarify.
Classic smokescreen.
Pete thinks that Mr. Beast could snag this spot. I want to be on the record because if you're right, who's shocked that I'm wrong, right? I want to say I do not believe Mr. Beast will take a spot in the LEC. I think it would be a great thing for everybody, but I just don't see it.
It's tough. Like I think he would definitely make a run at it, especially because this is going to be a slot for next season, I believe.
So it seems.
But I would just love to see it. It kind of makes sense. We know that he wants one. This might be the best value. And if you have to get in on the LEC versus the LCS, the LEC is actually the more lucrative market to be in currently. And so, you turn on your LEC, you're watching, your Mr. Beast take on Fnatic. All of a sudden, the Mr. Beast team stops and cuts an ad for Honey in the middle of the game. He's coming down. They're pushing hard for the middle, and while we're talking about this,
it's like the 100 Thieves.
Use the Honey browser.
Yeah. It's like 100 Thieves every room sponsored. Like, welcome back to the Chipotle Cash App Kitchen
Champs game room,
which we think is lucrative. Okay, and again, it'd be great to see. Can you imagine? There's so many ways this could go. Can you imagine Beast is the only North American figure to actually get a team in the LCK? We had NRG and FaZe had initial offerings or at least initial interest, but somehow Beast Gaming slips into the Korean league.
In every time, in between games, the camera always cuts to them and they all swivel around their chairs with Mr. Beast burgers.
There's so many ways that he can make this lucrative, and yeah, this might be a great time to get in with a team that seemingly, based on rumors, might have to sell, right? They're put in a position where they might not be asking for, above market rate. But again, 20 million, is that a lot to Mr. Beast? We've had a lot of backs and forths. If he has that kind of capital, who could he pull in? And that way he's still a majority owner. There's a lot of nuances that we do not know about, but it's fun to speculate if he could be in the European League.
I gave my keys to the game house to my league team.
Yeah, and then that pays for it. 5% of a video Mr. Beast does correctly could have a significant down payment for a $20 million league team. So what do you guys think? The rumors, if they are true, Schalke to apparently sell their LEC spot. Who's going to take that spot? Will it be BDS? Will it be Beast Gaming? Who do you guys want to see? And what do you think about the overall topic of when a sports team enters esports and their sports team is not doing so hot, then they got to back out altogether? It's a crazy story nonetheless.
When you suck so bad at real sports, you lose your team in esports.
You just hate to see it. Until next time, though, we hope you guys all enjoy it, right? Take a big sip for us. We'll catch you guys back here in the next one. Take care.
Woo!